What have you broken in the past? Breakage isn't always bad. In fact, breaking things, including yourself, is completely okay when the experience leads to something better. This is How I Broke That.
Hello, breakers. Welcome to 2022. Are you ready to break for the better? Today, we're here with Lisa MK Ling, ready to learn all about her dynamic, health-focused efforts in the entrepreneurial space. Lisa brings the mind, the body, and the spirit into business building, supporting others as they work towards their highest creative potential. I am one of them. Ling is a human potential coach. She's a health coach, a lawyer, an author, a podcast host, a world-class karate athlete, a wife, a mom, and more. She has a history of building successful businesses herself, as well as supporting clients holistically as they work towards their dreams. How has the inclusion of Ling's health-focused flow approach changed her business and the companies of others for the better? And how can these areas be strengthened in your own entrepreneurial space as we start 22? Sit back and relax. We are about to find out. And now, let's bring in Lisa. Lisa, welcome to the show.
Welcome to How I Broke That.
Hello, everyone. We are going to get into the flow today. You're going to feel what that feels like in your body, your mind, and spirit. Get everything all aligned. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, it is fun. And I have to admit, full disclosure, which is perfectly fine. I work with Lisa on flow, and it ain't easy, but it's a lot of fun, and it's very good for your mind, body, and spirit. Lisa, before we get into that, one of the reasons that I wanted to bring you on here is that we want to set our audience up, a lot of entrepreneurs, of course, with the flow for 22. But before we get into that, we talk about breakage. And, so want to talk about your entrepreneurial journey. And please, please, please share with us the breakage, because we know the breakage helps us get where we actually need to be. So start us off somewhere in that long list of things that you do.
Yeah, well, my entrepreneurial journey, I was thinking about this on my morning walk yesterday, which is one of my daily rituals. Getting outside and getting your body moving first thing in the day is like awesome for your creativity, because creativity lives not just in your mind, but in your whole body. So I was thinking about what is my entrepreneurial journey? And I realized that it's basically a combination of both my professional journey as a lawyer, a management consultant, an international karate fighter, and also my personal journey as a mother, as a wife, as a woman. And I think that's true for a lot of entrepreneurs. It's a merger of not only your skills and things that you've trained in and are good at, but also something they're really passionate about, something that really touches your heart. Because in order to survive the entrepreneurial journey and not just be, working for someone else and receiving a paycheck all the time, you have to be passionate, because you are going to enter that cave of fear and you're going to have to come through it, and to have the resources that you need in your body, mind, and spirit to really battle all the demons and to survive, all of that. You've got to have all cards on the table. And so for me, I'm trained. Well, there's four stages really of my entrepreneurial journey. The first stage is I was an athlete from a very young age, and all of my family were trained in martial arts. I have three sisters, no brothers. My dad's Chinese, my mom's Scottish, and I was raised in the remote northern wilderness of, northern Canada near Alaska, where there's literally more bears than people. And so I grew up on a farm and just learned how to work with my hands, how to work with my head and my heart, and just blend everything together. And martial arts was a huge part of that. And eventually made it onto the provincial team, the national team. I competed for Canada for many, many years all over the world. And, from being an athlete, a high performance athlete, you really get to know yourself, because you're put into pressure situations. Like, you've trained for 2 years, literally, for a 2-minute match and a single elimination. So if you lose that one match that you may have trained for thousands of hours for and traveled halfway around the world, you're out of the tournament. So you're in these situations where there's a tremendous amount of pressure, and you get to see yourself. You get to see your own mind. You get to see your own heart under these pressure cooker situations. Not unlike an entrepreneur
Yeah.
where your home, your mortgage, your life, your everything's on the line, and you're in these situations, and some of those go well and some of those don't. Of course, you win and you lose. But you always learn. And I've always felt that I've learned the most when things don't go the way I expect, when they go really badly. And this is actually how I came upon flow. I first experienced flow as an athlete after losing my very first match at the World Cup in the
Mm.
Philippines, which I had trained furiously for. I went out there and I absolutely froze with fear, and then came back to England and was in just a little local tournament. And because I had already bombed out completely and failed miserably in a
Right.
way, I was completely free.
That's breaking for the better, right?
Breaking for the better. I was free. I had already achieved my worst failure.
Yeah.
So I couldn't do anywhere. And I feel that like that's true in life, as I've had lots of rock bottom moments also as a mother. I used to be super controlling tiger mom, and when my son was 3, he was just having absolute panic attacks and hysteria, and I was like, I cannot, we cannot keep doing this, but I didn't know what to do. And so that was another rock bottom moment. But I now call those rock bottom moments, I call them RBO, because it stands for rock bottom opportunity.
Nice.
Because the thing about the bottom is that, as you're going down, things look pretty bad, right? But then once you get to the bottom,
Yeah.
there's only one way to go. And at some point, you get sick and tired of being sick and tired. And then that's when you make a decision to change. And it usually takes some pressure like that, whether it's in the karate arena or it's in the kitchen. You know, it takes something to make you change from your habits and your ways.
That
And it's
sorry,
yeah.
that I got to go back to that vision that you were kind of creating there of losing that one match. And is it true, of course, also in business, that you might lose that big sale, but the business isn't over? And I actually had a conversation with a client yesterday, who I think he might be getting to the end of his rope financially and with the
Yeah.
business. And I just said, man, that's okay. But before you get there, let's think about a couple different ways to go here. And then let's set a date where potentially you do look yourself in the mirror and then figure that part out. So, is it okay to have those moments, right?
It's not only okay, but they can be real catalysts for change because they really make you examine. They make you examine everything on the inside, right? Why am I doing this? Is this really the right direction, right? Do I need to tack and change direction? Um, do I want to do it in a different way? Do I want to be different? Like the energy you bring to something also matters. If you're, for example, if you're in a business and the primary goal is around I just want to make money, I just want to feed my family, and of course that's important, but there has to be also something else fueling it. There has to be something you love about it, something, because other your customers are going to feel that, and if they think that you're just trying to get money out of them, are they really going to be in for that? I don't know that people buy things for that reason, right? They buy it because it brings them value, because it's somehow contributing to the feeling they have in their life, the good feeling, and their tank of love within themselves and their family and their world, right? So you have to be, if you're in business, you have to consider that, and that has to be a big part of what you're doing. So
Yeah.
um
So
yeah,
how can they turn? How can they
rock
look?
bottom.
That's the
Yeah,
question. You took it right out of my mouth there. How
yeah.
can you
How do
make a
you
rock
turn those
bottom
rock bottom
moment into
moments
an opportunity?
into opportunities? Well, It's all about perspective. When you're going down into the pit, you're looking down and things look pretty shit. That rhymes. I didn't realize that rhymes.
Cool.
And as long as you're looking down, you're like seeing things are getting worse. You're scared. You're full of fear. It's like nothing's working out. Your health is probably going down. Your whole world, like you're not able to see the beauty of it, right? You're not able to be grateful for the things that are working. But at some point you get to the bottom, and then it's really, you're really at your worst, say, or something really, really unwanted has happened. But usually those unwanted things, like I really believe that everything happens for a reason. And so if you take the perspective that everything is happening for a reason and there is a larger plan for me, then you can ask, if you ask yourself, what is the for me part of this? If this is happening for me, to teach me something, to guide me, to help me change direction, to open me up to a new way of thinking about something. And sometimes we do need to get beaten over the head with a 2x4. Like if you're not really paying attention, the universe is going to beat you over the head with a 2x4. But when you start paying attention, the tickle of a feather can make you pay, can, make you
Hmm.
shift directions. But that's a whole process in and of itself. So,
So the pit
what
of
what
shit
is the
is not a
form?
bad place to be.
Yeah, it's not a bad place to be, because you're like, okay, it makes you look at things differently, and you ask yourself, what is the for me part of this? And in order to answer that question, like, for example, my sister got cancer, and initially it was like a terrible thing, right? But she changed her whole way of eating, she changed her whole way of
Mm.
living. Now she says it's one of the best things that happened to her.
Mm.
It made her change her whole take on life. She's so grateful to be alive every single day. She's
Yeah.
grateful for breath, right?
Yeah.
So the things that challenge us the most can often become the things that give us the most, if you're willing to be open to that.
Yeah. My pit of shit, or one of them, I should say, was losing about over $300,000 in one of our businesses. That was a pit of
Yeah.
shit. And
Yeah.
it changed my life, my business partners' lives, my wife's life, everybody's forever. And then eventually for the better. But
And
you
you're
had to go
probably
into
living
that.
in Mexico partly because of it, right?
You could definitely connect those dots
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah. And it
So
probably unhooked you from money so much too, didn't it?
I
And
was
it
definitely
then hooked
unhooked from
you.
money.
Yeah, it unhooked you from money, I bet, and I bet you it hooked you into life,
Yeah.
into
Yeah.
experiences, into family, into love, into living, being alive, because that
Breathing.
does not take money. That does not take money. That takes energy and perspective and
Yeah.
just desire to be alive and feel
So
alive.
give us, before our break here, from, can you take us from the pit of shit to your top, or have you not reached that?
Well, I talked about these 4 stages. I think I got through one of them. I'll just go
Sorry,
through what they
sorry.
are briefly. Like, the journey, I feel this is probably true of all entrepreneurs, like, you go through iterations of different things, and, everything you've done kind of ends up becoming a part of your business in some way. And so these 4 stages for me were, one was being an international karate fighter and an athlete. And that taught me a lot about my body and literally how to get the most out of my body physically, right?
Mm.
What to eat, how to train, how to build strength, stamina, suppleness, um, how to think, how to be at my absolute best, not just randomly on a given day, but at a specific moment on a specific day. And the essence of flow is that you are completely focused and on and alert, and yet you're completely relaxed and calm and loving what you're doing, and almost a zen like state on the inside. But you're moving furiously. So on the outside, you could be punching and kicking furiously with tremendous aggression and energy and speed and power. But on the inside, you're totally calm and almost like zen. And that combination is very unusual, because you're pairing opposites. And that is the essence of being an entrepreneur. You're
Hmm.
always bringing together opposites, right? You need to make money, but you also have to love what you're doing and offer value. You have to do the administrative side of your business, but then you also have to and sell it, but then you also have to like do the content and be an expert in the, the details of it. Like there's so many opposites that you have to bring together, and that's one of the characteristics of a really good leader is that you can blend the opposites. Um, so then that taught me about the body. Then being a lawyer taught me about the mind, right? And law is all about taking a massive information. Again, this is so similar to entrepreneurs. A massive amount of information. Doesn't seem to make sense. It's just a big blur. And then you break it down into its components, into its categories. You make sense of it. And then you thread together the pieces of that according to the story that you want to tell. In law, it depends if you're prosecution or defense. You would weave the facts together in a different way, depending on which side you're on. Just as you're an entrepreneur, you weave the threads together in a different way, depending if you're talking to a client, a stakeholder, an employee, an investor. But it's the same stuff. You're always telling stories as an entrepreneur. And so that taught me about the mind and how to think about things and really get the most out of my mind. And then, as a mother, I have two teenagers, and what can I say? As a mother, your heart breaks open, and all the things you thought you knew, you realize you didn't know, and all the things that made me a really great fighter,
Mhm.
intensity, focus, aggression, determination. Um, all of that made me a terrible mother.
Hmm. Interesting.
Terrible
That's
mother.
that opposite, right?
Terrible mother. Yeah. Like I had to learn a whole other way of being and, how to be soft, gentle, caring, slow down, do nothing, just be. Right. I was used to moving around furiously with a baby. When you're holding a baby, the baby doesn't want you to move around furiously. It just wants you to hold it and be with it. It's
Hmm.
doing nothing, right? And yet it's doing everything.
Sounds
And
like a
and so
business.
it sounds like business. And so eventually I merged all of these different qualities into me, into who I am,
Yeah.
and that is essentially what I do. And now I teach that, right? Which
Awesome.
is flow.
Yeah. We're
And
gonna
and
get into
that's
flow, right?
when you get all of that together, your body, your mind, your spirit, oh my God, all bets are off. Like you can go to the moon,
Yeah.
but you
Well,
got to
you
take care of each part.
you do a lot. I listed them, many of them. We've also talked about you doing cohort-based courses using Click2 because I think you should bring an opportunity for your audience, your listeners, people like me to kind of meet for coffee. Click2
Yes.
is our show sponsor. They've created an effective, easy to use cohort based course platform for enrichment providers, breaking that self paced class trend. So, cohort based courses offer skill building knowledge, live instruction, and a community of students. And it could just be drinking coffee and learning, like we talked about. These features are completely shattering the industry, bringing Click2 and cohort based courses front and center in the future of online education and enrichment. So, appreciate Click2 sponsoring us, trying to get Lisa to take advantage of
Oh
Click2
no,
and
I
kind of
am. I
we're,
absolutely am. It just
we're
I got to get my book out first and then I can build the academy around it. But I love the ease of Click2 because everything is on there. You don't have to have one place where people pay and then another place where they comment and another place where you teach. It's all on the same platform. And the whole idea of having a community together live that is moving through the material together. That's the beauty and the power of it. Like you
yeah,
can do any online class and have it out there and people just do it on their own in their home. But it doesn't work, right? People want to be together, they want to be in community and they want to learn together. And that's the beauty of Click2.
beautiful. Well, we're here to learn. We're entering the second phase, and I know as a host, I'm supposed to kind of volley back and forth with you. I'm going to spend a little more time in this show, in this 15 minutes, listening, much like our audience, to learn about flow. So, we could spend and do spend an hour every other week talking about flow. You've got 15 minutes to teach the world. The floor is yours.
Okay. So flow, like I said, is essentially, and by the way, flow has multiple meanings. And this goes back to the personal and professional elements of yourself that I talked about in the beginning. Technically, flow is a well-known state of being. Books have been written about it, but not by me, but by others. I'm also writing a book called The Flow Method, but that's different. And it's, technically speaking, it's a state of being where you are completely alert and focused and alive, and you're doing something challenging that's on the edge of your abilities, and yet you're completely calm and relaxed and absolutely loving what you're doing. And everybody has had these kind of experiences, whether it's water skiing or holding your child for the first time, or playing music and suddenly getting how to bring the song together, or singing a song, whatever it is. It could be at work, it could be at play, it could be at home. Everybody has had flow experiences. So I had my first one that I really understood when I was a karate fighter, but then I also wanted it as a mom. After I retired from competition, I needed flow in my house because I found myself shouting at my kids every single day. And I did not like, all the things that worked for me, control, intensity, and all that, they did not work when I put them on my children. And so that led to a lot of chaos in the house. And I didn't know what to do. And so I turned back to this idea of flow. And part of flow is letting go. If you try to control things too much, there's no space for the mystery and the magic to come in. You're only half of the equation. You need to leave space for the other half of the unknown. And this is something that you and I talk about a lot, because as business owners, you're basically co-creating your business with the universe. Like you think you're in control of it, but actually you're not. And you don't really want to be fully in control of it, because you can't control everything, right? You can't control all the outcomes out there. There's so many other people that are going to affect your business. And so you need to leave space for that. But then it's not just random space, it's a lovingly powerful space. You set it up. You set up the container that you and your business can be in, to be a lovingly powerful space to grow. And the way you do that is through your own vibe, in your own body, your own mind, and your own spirit. And that's where the whole, health thing comes in. So, flow is this place where you can actually achieve through joy, not necessarily through struggle. When you're in the flow state, it feels easy, right? You're dunking 3-pointers like no problem in flow state. And you're actually achieving better results than you ever have. And you're
Dunking
doing it.
3-pointers. I think you just made something up.
Well,
That's
okay.
awesome. No,
Okay,
we're going to
whatever.
roll with it. I'm going to use it from
Like,
now on. You just dunked a 3-pointer. People are going to be like, wow, I've never done that. I'd be like, that's why you're in flow.
you know the image. You're throwing 3-pointers. I guess I got the vocab wrong.
All good. I like the image.
But yeah, you're achieving your best results through joy.
Yeah.
And so who doesn't want that, right? So when I experienced that, I was like, wait a second, I need more of this. But I didn't know how to get into the flow on purpose. It happened by accident, like it does with most people. But I wanted it not by accident. I wanted it on a certain day, at a certain time, for a certain match. And so I started studying. I started meditating. And it was really hard for me. I was like really high adrenaline, ADD, mind going racing. And I started by just lighting a candle and watching the candle flame. And I honestly could only do it for a few seconds in the beginning, because I was so used to being wired and, moving around. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs are like high energy people whose minds like just are like race cars. But learning to slow that down actually increases your range of abilities, because now you can not only do all the high energy fast-paced stuff, but you can also do the low energy, slow-paced stuff, and then you can bring them together and do everything in between. So your range has just like increased exponentially.
So slowing down makes you go further, allows you to go further.
Slowing down actually allows you to go further and faster in the end. Yeah, because you're then able to see things, right? So I have a formula for change, which is, I'll just say it now and then I'll get into it. It's so simple, but it encapsulates everything I teach about flow. And that it's this: intention plus action equals results. And intention is your mind and your heart. Mind alone is planning. Heart alone is wishing. Planning is good. Sometimes that's good enough. It's very strategic, but it's very dry. There's no emotion. Wishing is all emotion, but there's no teeth. There's no plan. When you join them together, you get your head and your heart, boom, like a laser beam, your intention. Now you have thoughts and a strategic plan, but you also have a desire, a strong desire in your heart attached in there. And that's super, super powerful when you join them together, because you're bringing all of yourself. You're bringing your mind and your spirit together, right? And then you bring that, your head and your heart, into your hands and you start doing it. That's the action part. You can't not get results. But there's a catch. This is a certain type of action. It's not just any action. It's not busy action. It's inspired action. And how do you know the difference? By taking a moment at the beginning of the day to go slow, to pause, to sit with a warm cup of water or tea or coffee or whatever it is you drink, and just do nothing for about 10 minutes and allow whatever's most important, whatever you feel, whatever, to cut through all those layers of busyness and all the noise to the essence. And so it takes those moments of being slow and being still to bring out the truly most important thing. And then you do that. And if you do that every day, well, guess what? You're going to be doing the most important things for your business, the things that move things forward the most, the things that are the most strategic, the things that you love the most. And you don't always know what those are just from planning, right? You have to allow space for some of the unknown. Again, the mystery, the magic. Leave a little space for that. Ask the universe.
The universe
I
will
don't know if
tell
your
you.
audience are, used to asking the universe, but there's a lot of power in asking the universe.
The audience is used to asking questions. I did kind of put out that we were speaking, and I got one question. We got a few questions, but I wanted to ask this one, especially right now. It said, if we could only take one thing away from your holistic approach, what would it be? You only get one thing to take away, and you're an entrepreneur.
I think it would be this idea of body, mind, spirit, which is also, by the way, intention, action. Intention plus action equals results. Because your intention is your mind and your spirit, and your action is your body. So again, it's similar. We're used to thinking in silos in our culture. Everything's separate. Everything is binary. It's this or it's that. You as a human are not in silos. Your body is connected to your mind, is connected to your spirit. Your emotions affect your body. Your thoughts affect your action. Everything starts in the mind before it exists in the world. If you just jump into action, you're not using your full power. You're not using every tool you have at your disposal. So your results are going to be less because you're not using everything you've got.
Yeah, I know you're
So
giving this very condensed version, So I
Yeah.
appreciate that. One point I wanted to bring up as we get close to wrapping up is as I was reading the 7 abilities to achieve, the highest creative potential, something you had written, and you haven't necessarily touched on this, but you and I know it's super important. Kindness in relationships, and what
Yes.
role does that play in flow and in life and in business?
This brings me to the second meaning of flow for me. So flow, what flow really stands for me, and I only learned this later after I retired from sport and I was a mother. Flow means feel the love within. F, feel, L-O, and within, W, F-L-O-W, flow. And ultimately, that's what it's about. Feel the love within. If you cultivate kindness to yourself and you're good to yourself and you take care of yourself, you're going to be able to take care of others, whether it's in your family or whether they're your clients or your employees or your stakeholders. But it starts with yourself. And so I really believe in this inside out approach. Start here. All you have to do is one small thing: take care of yourself, your body, take care of your mind, take care of your spirit. Do something every single day to uplift that. Even if it's just drinking a glass of water, even if it's just saying one positive affirmation to yourself: I can do this. I'm a good person. Even if it's just taking a single deep breath, you know, simple things that don't take time. People say they don't have time, but it's not really about time. It's about intention. And so if you set your intention to rise to your highest creative potential of body, mind, and spirit, not one or the other, but all three, everything around you is going to rise because you're the one common denominator in all parts of your life, whether it's family or work, right? So
So
when you lift yourself up, everything around you lifts up.
I'm going to do something kind, and I'm going to try and lift everybody else up. Uh, Even though I want to spend as much time as I can with you, I want other people to do that as well. So can you talk about how people can reach you and learn more about flow?
I'm on Instagram, Lisa MK Ling, and I have a flowcast called One Small Thing. Now you know why it's called One Small Thing. I guess we could put the link or something. It's on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and Google Podcasts and all that. But
Gotcha.
yeah, I coach, speak, write, and teach about flow. I love, this is what I love. This is why I'm here on the planet. So I love working with people, whether they're, my youngest client is like 7, the oldest is 77. There are professional athletes and CEOs, but also just moms and dads and kids, all kinds of people want to
Yeah.
be in the flow for all kinds of different reasons. So
Well,
yeah,
we're happy you're on the planet, and
I am too.
you know, stay here with us. Keep teaching us about flow, and here's to more 3-point dunks in
Awesome.
your life, my
Oh, I have
life,
to
and
say,
everybody.
one thing. I have
Yeah.
a book coming out this spring about this, and it's for teens and parents.
Mhm.
It's called Dragonfly, and it's all of this stuff we've been talking about, but woven through the story of a girl who happened to grow up in northern Canada with 3 sisters, and she meets a dragon, and the dragon teaches her all about flow. It's not
Mhm.
called flow in the book, but it's the dragon magic. And she has to learn how to breathe the 7 colors of light through the 7 energy centers of her body. So it's literally got the technical information in there for kids of how to work with this energy and how to build themselves up from the ground up. Yeah.
Cool. I can't wait to read it, my daughter. And I just want to say thank you for everything you do for me, for all of us,
Yeah.
and of course for yourself too. So thank you for
Yeah.
being on the show.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Thanks for listening. Next time on How I Broke That.